Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in again with myself, and I have a guest all the way from UK, but he is born and bred in Cape Town. His name is Eugene Steneberg, and he is currently serving in the British Army, living in the UK as well. And so, thank you, Eugene, for taking time out to be with me and to be with everyone who's going to be listening to this video recording. Yeah, so thanks for availing yourself. I know you are busy. And so I just wanted to kick off, Eugene, by asking you to tell us where you grew up. And yeah, you can just go ahead with that.
Well, thanks, Melissa, for having me, giving me the opportunity to speak to all those who will be listening. Yeah, so as you said, I grew up in Cape Town, born and bred in Lotus River, for those who know the place, the southern suburbs. And yes, so I attended Back Road Primary, first of all. I then went to Zikuplay High, where I matriculated. And I will say I have no further education after matric. And I want to point that out because people might think you need university, you need this, you need that. It's good to have, definitely. I'm not saying don't do it. Do as much education as you can.
Yeah.
But I didn't have it. Circumstances didn't allow me to go to university, even though my parents actually saved up for me for university via a policy my parents had for me. And I knew they were struggling. And my dad actually asked me, um, I don't know, I can't remember which grade I was in, but that could have been grade 10, 11, somewhere around there. And he actually asked me, are you going to go study further at university? But I knew why he was asking that question. And I knew it was a money factor in the house, because it wasn't always so good.
Yeah.
And I said to him basically, no, I'm not going to study further. I said, you guys can use the money, you know. So he basically took the money off the policy, and that was it. They used the money for better. I say better use. Education is a good
Yeah.
use, but I wasn't that bothered. I knew myself. I knew I was street smart. I knew I could hustle, um, and I didn't need, even though it would have been a benefit to me for the extra education, but I didn't at the moment think I would need it. Um, and yeah, so that's what happened. And then literally when I was done with school, and I would say I actually had a daughter when I was in matric. My daughter was born, and so again, more circumstances that people will think might stop them from moving forward in life. Oh, I had a child. Oh, I need to work. I need to support the child. I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
I went through all of that, and in the same time, I lived in the heart of gangsterism. The headquarters were a few doors away from my mother's house in Lotus River. So I knew all of those things, but it never influenced me. I always thought, I looked at them and I thought, they drunk again, they on drugs again, and I just thought, no, that's not my life. I would stick to knowing them,
Yeah.
greeting them.
Yeah.
I always felt safe. In the environment, I felt safe because all the gangsters knew me, but they knew I wasn't a gangster. They knew I was like a good person. You know, and yeah,
And
that happened. And
I always like to find out about, like how there's always this perception that these areas like Lavendale, Lotus, and have all these bad and negative, stories attached to it. But whenever I think about, where I grew up in Lavendale, I always try and make a point of it that maybe it's like 10%, of the people that live in that area that's doing whatever they are doing
yeah,
in the negative light, but the majority of the people are good, and those are the people I could run to for help or whatever my family needed. We had that neighbor next door. We knew we could go. And so I'm wondering, is that the same feeling that you have for the area you grew up in, like that community?
100%, yes. And I mean, I look back now and I see the community because I always go back home. I try to go back every Christmas, and I'm quite spread out in different areas. I'm in the
Yeah.
northern suburbs, I'm in the southern suburbs, I'm in Mitchell's
Mm.
Plain,
Mm.
everywhere in
Yes.
Cape Town, and the feel is still the same. I can
Mm.
still see that community feel. So you're right by saying there's only a small percentage of people that's making the area sound bad in that kind of way, but there's
Yes.
also lots of people looking out for you.
Yeah.
Lots of, it's always auntie this there, auntie that there, uncle this there,
Yeah.
uh, and yeah,
Mm.
it hasn't changed.
Mm.
So if people want to look and say, I don't know what it is where they are at now, I
Mm.
do know because things hasn't changed, and
Yeah.
it's been. I mean, I'm now 40 years old,
Mm.
and if I think back to when it was the worst time ever where I was growing up was probably all the way from 10 years old to
Mm.
25, because that's when I left when I was 25. Um, and yeah, even till today, I go back, people in the States still know me, you
Yes.
know. Um,
Yeah.
it's how you conduct yourself and how you, um, it's what you make of life,
Mm.
basically.
Mm.
You can't blame others for your failures and stuff.
Yes.
You just need to be focused,
Mm.
find a role model, look at that person, say, I want to
Mm.
be like that person, or I want to be better than that person, and then just go with it.
Yeah.
I've seen too many deaths back
Yeah.
home, and I mean, anyone listening to this now will probably know someone who's died. They
Yes.
know someone who's been stabbed. They know someone who's been shot.
Yeah.
You you know someone from Lavendale. It's
Yeah.
things haven't changed.
Yeah.
So it's for us, it's our mindset. We need to change
Mm.
our mindsets and go with it. That's basically.
Yeah. And so what are you currently doing?
So I left. Actually, after school, I went to Old Mutual and I stayed at Old Mutual for about 5 years,
Okay.
and then an opportunity came about to go to the UK. To literally, it was a case of it was a silly, silly, I'd say silly little job,
Yeah.
but yet it was an opportunity just to sell gas and electricity. You
Okay.
know, um, in the UK, for those listening, we use gas, which I can't show you now. I'm going to show you
Yeah.
one of our radiators on the
Yeah.
side here, which heats the house up basically. But
Ah,
that's it's like gas running to the stoves, like a normal gas stove, but
yes.
our oven and everything is fully gassed.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so I came over to sell that, and I tried it for like almost 3 weeks, and I just didn't like it. It was a dishonest job,
Yeah.
and yeah, I left it, and I decided I'm just gonna go work in a hotel. I decided to go to the hotel because one of my friends who was actually here at the time, she said there's a lot of South Africans at the
Mm.
hotel down the road. And I was like, you know what, I fancy a bit of hotel work. So I
Mm.
applied, got in, and I started working there for about just over a year. And I saw all the adverts on TV here in the UK about joining the army. And I thought, you know what, that sounds good, but I'm from South Africa, can't happen.
Mm.
And I kind of left the thought, just see the ads on TV. And then one day I was walking through the so-called local shopping mall,
Mm.
and I walked in the mall, and there was a stand with army guys on it, basically doing recruitment. And I walked over to them, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna make conversation because I want to feel quiet now.
Yeah.
So I went over to them, and I was like, hi there, can I join the army?
Yes.
And the guy could hear my accent, and he said,
Mm.
where you from? I said, South Africa. And that was me thinking, okay, now you can just say no and I can carry on walking.
Yeah.
And he said, yes, of course you can join the army. And I just paused and I looked at the guy and I was like, I didn't know what to say to the guy because I
Mm.
wasn't prepared for it. I was expecting a no.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my dear, what do I say now? I was like, so what do I do?
Yeah.
And he said, where do you live? I said, no, I live here in Basingstoke. And it's like, well, Aldershot has a recruitment center. You can go there, get the ball rolling. And then, yeah, they gave me the number. I called them, made an appointment, just went. And the
Wow.
next thing you knew, I was on a selection course somewhere for 2 days. And I passed the selection. I was actually
Mm.
the best student on that selection. and that was me. They gave me a start date, and that was me in the army.
Sure.
That was back in 2007 already. So I've done
Okay.
13 years now.
I was just gonna ask how many years
Yeah,
are you
done
in
13
the
years,
army? About
13 years already.
13. Wow.
And I've been all over the world with them. Um,
Mm,
so it's literally from exercise, military exercise, because everything you're doing in the army prepares you for war, basically.
mm,
So every exercise you go do is not just a pointless exercise. There's meaning behind the exercise.
yes.
So it exercises in Belgium, Jordan. I was in the Falkland Islands. I was, France. Just all over the place, you know.
And that's
Uh,
just for training programs.
yes, that's all training. And then basically I was in the army for 4 years doing various training. They're always teaching, telling you, yes, in case you go to war, in case this. But
Mm,
it doesn't really click, you know, while you're doing the exercises. And then on my 4th year, that was me straight on an aeroplane to Afghanistan, you know, straight to a real war. And then it became a reality that,
mm,
wow, I'm actually in Afghanistan. Wow, we're not
mm.
walking around with blank
Practicing.
blank bullets, you know, in our rifles and stuff. These are live rounds,
Yeah.
in our rifles now and things
Yeah.
like that. Real body armor on and things like that. And it's like, wow. And the
Mm,
first person dies there, and you think, oh
mm.
my dear, I just seen this guy the other day, and now he's dead. It was like
Wow.
kind of a bit of a reality of back home where
Mm,
people die, but yeah, you're in a real war zone. It's like, wow.
mm. Yeah.
So
It's interesting how you say it like, I mean, you grow up with gang violence and people getting killed by real, guns and
yeah,
things on a daily basis. And it's just like, it's with you, but it's also, it feels a bit distant.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, and so over your journey on that side, what has stood out for you about like being able to see other parts of the world, not just Cape Town and just being exposed
Yeah.
to Cape Town.
The thing is, I think it's the safety aspect of things aside, the security of things on the side. And when I say security, like job security and things like that.
Mm,
Because when you're in South Africa, or whether it's Cape Town, some people don't even leave Cape Town. I was one of those people. I was always just in Cape Town. The
Cape
first time I got on an aeroplane, I flew to England, so it
Mm,
was weird. But one thing people don't understand is that our mindsets, we think we have grown, we think we know it all, and then you start traveling, and then
mm,
you start realizing, wait a second, look how this country is doing things. Look how this country is doing things. You
mm,
know, I've got kids here, got 2 kids, wife, and my daughter's in school, and now it might not make sense, but she's 10 years old, and she is in what we call it year 6. So it's like the equivalent of saying she's in grade 6 and
okay.
she's 10 years old.
Yeah.
So if you do the maths, how
Yes.
can a 10-year-old be in grade 6?
Yeah.
You but
Yeah.
she is. Next year, she starts high school here. So
Wow.
she's 11, and that's just how easier.
Mm,
And because you go to school till you're 16, and
yes.
then when you're 16, that's when you then decide to go to
Mm,
college, basically, for further education.
okay.
Um, yeah, so I would say traveling definitely broadened my mind with things like that. You just learn so much, and then you realize how little people back home actually have, how little they're surviving on. And I think,
Oh,
wow,
wow.
we are amazing people
Mm.
from South Africa, Cape Town, Joburg, Durban. We are honestly amazing because we make things work. But
Mm,
when you bring that talent abroad, you can do so much more. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
mm,
People won't understand it, I mean, I had a friend back home. I said to him back in 2006,
mm,
I said to him, come over. because at the time we could still come over with a working holiday visa. It was still
Yeah.
fairly easy. And I said to him, come over. He's like, oh no, what about this? What about that? I'm like, don't worry about that. I will sort it out for you. I will even buy you a ticket. Come over.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but what about a job? You know, he's worrying about a job in the UK. I said, you already got a job. I'm telling you now, you have a job. You come into work at the same place where I am. You've got a
Yes.
job.
Yes.
And he couldn't understand it, like, because of how the hard it is to get a job in South Africa. When people have a job, they hold on to it with both hands, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Whereas here, people just chop and change. Like that. People
Mm.
don't like a job, they say goodbye, they walk out, and then tomorrow they walk in a different place. It's
Wow.
that easy.
Yeah.
Okay, it's slightly different now with COVID because people are losing,
Mm.
businesses are closing, people are losing their jobs. But just in normal circumstances, in normal life,
Yes.
it's so easy to get a job in the UK. So people shouldn't think,
Mm.
oh, I could never do it, I could never go there, I could never do this. It's possible as long as you just put your mind to it. It's
And
possible.
yes, and you highlighted something like the resilience of our of South Africans. I think stands out when you are faced with adversity, perhaps, you know, in a different country. You're like, you think that, you know, like this is something big, what we go through, you know, in various parts of Cape Town,
Yeah,
maybe perhaps doesn't come close. And I think I want to touch on like that thing about, you know, so many of our people feeling like they don't measure up or they don't have anything to
yeah,
offer, where perhaps you are cut above the rest because of your experiences that you come with. um,
exactly.
I don't know, like, I mean, your friend not believing that he had it in him.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
actually just make the move to come.
Yeah, you need to be brave and just take that step. You know, it's a step of faith. Just
Yeah.
go with it. If someone like myself are saying to you, it's easy over here, believe me, it's easy. It's not that easy to come over anymore like it was back then. This is why I'll say people need to get that further education now to make it easier. As long as you are qualified in something that's a skilled job, you can come over.
Mm.
You don't want to be in a call center, for example,
Mm.
because over here they can get someone from a call center, no problem, off the street. Someone can just be like, I need a job, yep, off the street. It
Mm.
needs to be something slightly skilled,
Yes.
something maybe IT that's skilled, something like a nurse, something like a doctor.
Mm.
Um, doesn't have to be that extravagant. Can be
Mm.
a teacher as well. I'm not saying teachers aren't extravagant, but
Mm.
you know, just something that as long as it's a skilled job,
Yeah.
you go study for it. You can come over on a highly skilled visa, and
Yes.
once you're in the country, you know, sky's the limit over here. You know, it's but yeah, you mentioned about the resilience.
Mm.
Um, we do have a reputation. So Africans have a reputation in the UK. A lot of British people know that South Africans are hard workers, and then when I look at them and I think to myself, you know what? They're not even working hard. They just doing what they would do at home. They just work. They just rock up on time. They'll just work. They will do 9 hours, 10 hours. That's a long day over here. Whereas back home, people are used to 12-hour shifts. So the moment you're doing 9, 10 hour shifts here, 11 hours, people are impressed with you. Like, wow, they really work hard, you know, and they hold on to you, you know. But at least over here, you're going to get paid for what you're doing. And that's the main thing. I don't, off the top of my head, know what minimum wage is at the moment, but I think it was £7.25 an hour,
Mm.
which is a minimum of 150 rand an hour.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
minimum wage over here. So you're talking
Compared
about
to 20 rand minimum wage in South
that.
Africa.
Gee was
And so I'm really wanting, I guess, for everyone listening to, so far on the platform Career Chats with Mel, there's been a spread of experiences shared, and Eugene's experience is one of, not the traditional, like, okay, you finish matric and then you go study, and I think it's just to show that, it's about, like Eugene has highlighted, that mindset that you are determined to make something work and bring in an income and contribute to your family's well-being, and just, you know, to look after them. And so I like you were saying, you were in selling gas and you didn't want to do that anymore, and an opportunity came along for hotel work, and you didn't think twice about what it meant,
Yeah.
about what you perhaps needed to do in that space, but you went for it. And you saw the advert about the army, and you didn't even think, you know, about the physicality and what that even perhaps maybe could mean for you as a person away from your family, and you jumped at the opportunity. And so I
Yeah.
think I'm wanting to highlight that, you know, even if your journey isn't the normal traditional journey of going to study, there are these opportunities that do knock on our
Yeah.
door. Okay.
Can I say something on something just come back into my mind now from over the years? What actually stopped people, friends of mine and family and things like that? It's girlfriends and boyfriends. I've experienced that in the past. People are saying I can't do that because I've got a girlfriend here. I can't do that because I've got a boyfriend. You know, and I was like, wow, you know, I had a girlfriend back in Cape Town when I moved to the UK, you know, and the plan was she was going to visit. She was going to visit, as in she was going to come over as well, because she actually was at university at the time, studying for an occupational therapist, and
Okay.
she had paperwork, everything was sorted. She could have come over and gotten a job here easily. Things didn't work out, but that's another story. But the main point is, people should not be making decisions because they still with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you know, because things like that can end. It's different, okay, if you're married and stuff, but
Mm,
I think it's actually easier when you're married, because the person who is then the skilled one of the two can come over first. Yes,
mm,
you're going to be apart for a little bit, but it's all about the sacrifice. That person can come over, get the job, and once that person's got status in the country, then that person can bring his or her wife, husband, etc. over with and family. But they first need to come get that status. So
mm,
people should not make excuses because of girlfriends and boyfriends and stuff like that,
mm, mm,
because it's now been 15 years since I've been in this country, and the same people are still saying to me, "Oh, I'm tired of this country. I'm tired of this. I wish I left. Can't I come over?" I'm like, "You could have come over back then. It's now hard to come over, you know." Um, so don't make excuses.
mm,
Just know where you want to be in life, make
mm,
a sacrifice,
mm,
and go for it.
mm.
That's easy.
Yeah, and I think I also wanna point out that it's also okay if you want to stay in the mother city, and I think it's how you are finding, you know, that's where I'm wanting to be. And I think what we can extract from Eugene's story is just the the way he's recognized opportunity, which meant that he could, I guess, navigate, you know, to get the income that his family needs. And I think that's the pinnacle I think I want to point out, is that um, it's completely okay if you don't want to move overseas. You want to stay in your mother city, and I think there's also the encouragement to say it might not be as hard as what we are thinking. If
Yep.
that was ever a thought that crossed your minds in terms of, oh, I think I want to move overseas and see what it's like.
Yeah, I know. I've made it sound like, no, you gotta come, you gotta come. I've got quite a lot of friends back home that has made it back home. You know, they have been successful. They are still successful back home. Thinking of maybe you might have a child already back home, and you're thinking you can't. I had a child back home. She was 5 years old when I left South Africa, because I was tired of just having enough money to support her, just having enough money to throw petrol in my car to get to work and back, and nothing really for myself to spend on it. I made the decision, you know what, I want to go abroad, and I just went for it. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I
Uh,
mean, if people, I don't know how your blogs and social networking works. I'm not sure if it's on Facebook, but I mean, if people, you can add me on there, whatever. If people want to ask questions, I can see the questions, I can answer, I can help.
Awesome.
I will help where I can
Yes.
to make people's dreams come true. I know there's a lot of youngsters who
Yeah.
are massive football
Yeah.
fans, Liverpool fans, Manchester United fans, Arsenal fans, Chelsea
Yeah.
fans. You know,
Yeah.
um, I'll just say something shortly quickly that when I was in South Africa, I never, ever, ever, ever had a dream of thinking I will one day go watch Liverpool play at Man.
Live.
Yeah, I just it wasn't a dream growing up in South Africa. It wasn't. I think people have those dreams now. But when I was growing up, and I was like, yep, just a thought gone. And then when
Yeah.
I came to this country, I was like, wait a second, I'm in England, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
So I made it this far. Okay, I need to get up to Liverpool because I need to watch a game somehow. Very difficult to watch games there. I live 4 hours away from Liverpool, but
Wow.
yeah, I've been lots of times to Anfield already to go watch them. I've been at different stadiums around the country
Yeah.
watching live football, and it is a dream,
Yeah.
and you guys can do it.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
if you want to go watch it, for those who play football at home, the youngsters in primary school, those in high school, if you good enough, why not try and connect with someone in South Africa that could get you a trial and come over and have a trial. And
Mm.
who knows, you might be playing for Southampton one day, you might be playing for West Ham, you might be playing for Liverpool. You
Yeah.
know, those things are possible. It's not impossible. I'm telling you now, it is 100% possible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for availing yourself to respond to any questions that might come as a result of the interview going on the blog. And yeah, I encourage you, if you have any questions about life in the UK, or how to, I think, get the pathway going, because the video isn't just going to be used with young individuals, but also, random people who like reading about stories like this that are encouraging.
Yeah.
People who are perhaps working already, and also watching the interview. Thanks, Eugene, and thank you everyone for
You're
watching.
welcome, Melissa. Thank you very much.